story time of how I met my former narcissist husband. This will make a lot of sense as people begin to hear me talking more and more about narcissistic abuse. So it's story time. I'm, as you could tell, ready for bed. But I wanted to share this video so people will understand why I am so passionate about what I talk about, and that's narcissistic abuse and relationships. So let's jump straight into it. I was minding my own business, literally minding my own business, hanging out at this spot in my local area. It almost reminded me of the juke joint days. You know, I was having a great time. I was dancing, partying, just having a good time. Literally wasn't looking for anyone. In fact, I was in bed that day. A girlfriend called me and said, "Hey, you want to go out?" We went out to the spot that we call here in my local area Mosquito Beach. So if you're from Charleston, you're probably familiar with Mosquito Beach. It was a nice breezy afternoon. I mean, we were partying. I'm drenched in sweat, but I was having a good time, just dancing, you know, with different men. So anyway, this little guy, he looked at me, but I really wasn't paying him too much attention right at that moment. And then he came and began to dance with me. I believe I was on the floor dancing by myself at that time, which I don't mind doing at all. So he comes up, he dances with me. The song is over. He go his way, I go my way. Right after that, you know, it was guys, I was just dancing back and forth with men that night. So one guy who was talking to me, my former husband actually got in between us and asked me a question. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was thinking, oh, that's pretty rude. You know, he sees me talking to someone else and he just walks up. Well, anyway, long story short, for that guy that I met that night, besides my former husband, once I realized he was married, I asked him that night if he was married. He told me he was married. Actually, the following day, I believe it was. He wanted to take me out to lunch. No go. Nice, seemed to be a nice guy. Seemed to be, and that's our problem. We're always saying they seem to be a nice person when we don't know them at all. We just met them a day or two ago, and we're like, oh, they seem to be a nice person. Tip number one, stop looking so much for what you like in them and start looking and paying attention for what you don't like about them. So that if you get yourself caught up into a situation where you've already fallen in love, knee deep, neck deep, throat, head, I mean, you're in there. And then you start seeing little things about this individual, it's too late. Especially if you're going through the process in the love bombing phase. So check out what you don't like about them before you start getting all caught up into what you do like. So when you don't like what you don't like, if you see that that is not going to be fixed, then maybe perhaps you won't be so prone to falling deeply for them. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? If it makes sense, drop a comment below. But anyway, back to the story. Dancing all night long, still not with him. I think I may have danced with him twice, maybe. Anyway, I'm sitting up on the porch, and he's down a little bit further down, and he, you know, like singles me to come over to him, which that was another cue. Why you walked up to, you know, why did I walk up to him? He's the man. Why didn't he just come up to me? That's another mistake I made. So, okay, you know, he already realized he got pulled because he don't know me from Adam Cat. And here he is. He's just, you know, come here, you know. And I went on over to him. We started talking. We exchanged numbers. I asked my girlfriend about him. My girlfriend actually know of him. And, of course, she pulled his records. The very next day, she said, oh, Tracy, he was arrested the same night that you met him. And I'm like, what? The same night? She said, yes, for child support. So she says, well, maybe, you know, he's gotten it together, blah, 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 you know, just give him a try. You never know. He could be a nice guy. You know, I know that he was a quote unquote hooker back in the days, but he could have changed. So I said, let me just give it a shot. I was still a little bit reluctant, but I did. That same week, we went out to see a movie and had a great time. From that moment on, we were talking every single day. When I tell you the man love struck me, love bombed the heck out of me. You hear me? I'm in the car with him, and I mean, we're just sitting in the car talking, and we're communing with each other, not sex, but we're kissing. And when I got back in the house, my sister-in-law said, "My goodness, Tracy, you look like you're in a daze. I've never had no one in my past to have done that, to put me in that frame of mind." I don't know what, and this is why I said in the other video, they're so demonic, because it's like the monitoring spirits, the devil knows exactly what you like. He knows what you like. Now, here's the thing. He doesn't know what you're thinking, but he could certainly plant a seed or a thought in your mind, and whatever you react to, boom, that's what he knows that he could use to get whatever he's trying to get into your life, or take away what he's trying to get away from you. So it was like a no-brainer to me, because it's like, okay, he's doing all of the things that I like. He's saying all of the things that I like. I mean, I'm walking in the house like I'm in a daze. It was just something about the Poe. He was not the finest man. He did not have a whole bunch of money, but it was just something about the way he made me feel that struck me. So it's nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with your intelligence. It has nothing to do with how smart or how brilliant you are. They have the ability, if you're not wise and you're not careful, to sweep you off of your feet and take every single thing that they possibly can for you. And for some people, unfortunately, their lives. But anyway, as time went on, let me tell you how love struck I was. As we're talking, and he's telling me about this woman on James, the same area that we live in. I almost said the area, but this woman that lives in the same area that we live in. It dawned on me, he could be talking about my sister from my father. And as we began to share notes, he said, "But I didn't mess around with her because she played too many games. I tried to take her out and yada, yada, yada." And I'm like, oh my goodness, please don't tell me they had sexual encounters with each other. Please, 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 because I'm so knee deep in right now. And I know in my mind, the mind frame that I was in at that time, it probably wouldn't have even mattered at that point, because we were already intimate with each other. So it's like, okay, I'm hoping that isn't the case. So I asked her about him, and she's like, no, nothing happened. We talked a couple of times, but nothing happened. I'm like, whew. So that was a breather for me. So fast forward, we're just going on and on, just seeing each other. Valentine's Day, he came by my house, and he brought a card for me, and he said, "I wanted to give you some money, but my brother stole my money from me." That should have already been another clue. So that means you probably weren't going to give me no more than $50 or $100 at that point, if that. So you mean to tell me that was absolutely all that you had? So that should have given me some type of indication as well. I ignored that. And this is what I'm telling you guys. I'm sharing with you because when you're in that phase of the love bombing phase, it's like you don't pay attention to anything. You see it and it whoosh, straight across your head, because you just don't care in that moment, because you just love what they're doing and how they're making you feel. So I let that go. I believe the following Valentine's Day, actually that was my birthday. It was my birthday when that happened. And he told me he wanted to spend my birthday with me, but it didn't happen. He came and dropped the card off. For Valentine's Day, this was the first time that I could recall anyone taking the time to send something on the job for me for Valentine's Day. So, boom, he hit another score with me. My daughter was like, "Oh, mama, he seems to really like you. Don't you hurt this man's feeling." Part one is over. I'm going to have to pick this back up.